Tonight, some unsettling details were revealed in Superior Court today in the Torre murder case. For the first time since Sergeant Albert Piolo's death, a police body cam footage of his last moments and his accused murderer's first statements were played back in court. Here are those details.
Still in shock, but we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
That was all Edison Piolo could tell us. He and his family were in shock after listening to the playback of a police body cam video taken at the scene of Sergeant Albert Piolo's last moments. It's the first time it's been played back in open court. The reason is so that Judge Michael Bordallo can make a decision on whether or not the body cam footage is admissible as evidence. Defense attorney Jay Ariola, who represents former police officer Mark Torre Jr., accused of shooting Piolo to death, wants the body cam evidence suppressed. He says Torre was clearly being interviewed as a suspect in the video without first being read his Miranda rights. But Chief Prosecutor Phil Tydinko says that's not the case at all.
I'm still trying to, put my evidence about our position, which is he was not in custody, and therefore we were not required to Mirandize him. Of course, the other side believes that he was in custody, and therefore we shouldn't have interrogated him or interviewed him or asked him any questions without Mirandizing him.
And as Piolo's brother Edison characterized, the body cam details were shocking. While the audio was heard in open court, the video itself was obscured from the rest of the courtroom. Deputy Precinct Supervisor Officer Barry Flores testified about the details in the video, as he was also seen in it as one of the first officers to arrive on scene. During playback, responding officer John Edwards, who was wearing the body cam, can be heard telling Sergeant Piolo, who was slumped over as Torre was holding him up, "Brother, talk to me." Piolo could also be heard in the background, but his words were incoherent. After Piolo is put into the ambulance truck, Edwards can be heard interviewing an inebriated and at times sobbing Torre. When Edwards asks Torre what happened, Torre responds, "Shouldn't have been this." Flores, on the witness stand, testifies that Torre smelled of alcohol and was apparently very emotional. Officer Edwards could then be heard consoling Torre, assuring him that he did the right thing in trying to save Piolo's life. Quote, "You did exactly what you were supposed to," Edwards tells Torre. At this point in the video, Supervisor Flores interviews Torre and asks him 3 questions. The first is whether the shooting occurred inside Piolo's truck, which was parked outside the Torre residence. Flores says Torre responded by shaking his head to indicate no. He then asks Torre if it happened outside. Again, Torre responds by shaking his head. But when Flores asks Torre, quote, "Was it self-inflicted?" Torre nods his head as if to indicate yes. He then breaks down into tears. Minutes later, as Torre continues to wail, Edwards can be heard continuing to consult Torre, who says, "Everyone is automatically going to think I shot him." To which Edwards responds by saying, "No, it's not your fault." At one point, Officer Edwards can be heard telling Torre, quote, "It's imperative that we know what happened, so this does not spin out of control. You do not want the media to get a hold of this," end quote. Officer Edwards then steps away from Torre and relays what he understands to have occurred at the time to other officers at the scene, saying that it appears Piolo was having issues with a girlfriend and, quote, "pulled it out and shot himself."
The judge will look at the totality of the circumstances and he'll make the decision himself based on all the evidence that's presented to him.
Meanwhile, trial has been delayed to sometime in June. It was initially set for February 8. This will give the defense time to hire a forensic pathologist to examine the evidence. The motion to suppress hearing will continue on Friday at 1:30 p.m. in Judge Michael Bordallo's courtroom. Defense attorney Jay Ariola is expected to cross-examine Officer Flores.